In this video, we'll be taking a look at 5 college basketball games happening on November 24, 2025, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 10 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 5 college basketball games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start: if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Rutgers versus Tennessee. Rick Barnes has his Volunteers playing absolute buzzsaw basketball to start the 2025-2026 campaign. They are sitting at 5-0 and winning by an average margin of over 28 points per game, anchored by a defense that is currently suffocating opponents to just 34% shooting from the field. Tennessee has successfully turned the page to a new era, led by the incredible freshman sensation Nate, who is averaging nearly 19 points a game, and the steady hand of senior transfer Jacoby Gillespie running the point. On the other side, Rutgers is in a tough spot. Life after the Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper one-and-done year has been a readjustment, and while sophomores Dylan Grant and Tariq Francis are putting up valiant numbers, the offensive depth just isn't there yet. The Scarlet Knights are coming off a shocking, morale-killing loss to Central Connecticut State, where they managed only 54 points. You simply cannot struggle to score against mid-majors and then expect to survive against a Rick Barnes defense that features rim protector Felix Akpara patrolling the paint. We expect the Vols to capitalize on Rutgers' lack of identity and turn this into a statement win in Vegas. As our first pick for this matchup, the Tennessee Volunteers to cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. If you like gritty, physical, half-court basketball, you are going to love the texture of this matchup. Tennessee's defensive metrics are elite, currently ranking in the top 20 nationally in points allowed, and they rarely let teams run in transition. Rutgers, knowing they don't have the firepower to get into a shootout, will likely try to muck this game up and slow the pace to a crawl to stay competitive. The Scarlet Knights are also dealing with the season-ending loss of big man Emmanuel Ogbole, which hurts their interior scoring options even more. With the Vols likely controlling the tempo and Rutgers struggling to find consistent buckets, evidenced by that sub-60-point performance just days ago, we don't see this turning into a track meet. Expect a physical grind where points are at a premium and defense dictates the day. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total, is our full game total pick. Creighton versus Baylor. Baylor has been terrifying offensively to start the 2025-2026 campaign, averaging nearly 90 points per game. Cameron Carr has taken that massive junior year leap we expected, leading the team with over 23 points a night, and Tamin Lipsey is still the steady hand steering the ship. They want to turn this into a track meet. However, Creighton is uniquely built to disrupt that rhythm. While the Blue Jays lost the Kalkbrenner era, the transfer portal haul has gelled faster than expected. Iowa transfer Owen Freeman has stepped right into that center spot, providing the rim protection necessary to funnel Baylor's guards into tough mid-range shots. But the real X factor here is the backcourt discipline. Josh Dix and sophomore breakout star Blake Harper are controlling the tempo brilliantly, committing very few turnovers. In a neutral site environment like Vegas, where depth perception can mess with shooters, the team that controls the half-court grind often covers. Baylor relies on transition chaos. Creighton relies on execution. If Freeman can stay out of foul trouble against Baylor's front-court physicality, the Blue Jays have the shooting to trade baskets and the discipline to keep this within a possession late. We are banking on McDermott's system keeping the Bears' transition offense in check. As our first pick for this matchup, the Creighton Blue Jays to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. The public sees Baylor putting up 89 points a game and Creighton averaging 78, and they immediately mash the over. But hold on a second. This is an early season tournament game in a massive arena, the Michelob Ultra Arena, which historically creates some shooting variance due to the visual backdrop. Furthermore, both coaches know the stakes. Scott Drew knows he can't just outrun Creighton. He has to respect their perimeter shooters, which likely leads to Tam and Lipsy and the Bears applying high pressure to slow down Creighton's sets. On the flip side, Creighton must slow this game down to win. They cannot afford to let Milan Momcilovic and Cameron Carr get loose in transition. Look for Nick Graves and the Blue Jays to milk the shot clock, limit possessions, and force Baylor to execute in the half court, where the Bears' efficiency naturally dips compared to their fast break metrics. We are looking at a game with high intensity but fewer total possessions than the Models project. Expect a grinder where every possession matters in the final 5 minutes. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Seton Hall versus NC State. When you look at these two rosters, the talent gap on the offensive end is glaring. NC State has reloaded beautifully via the portal. Darian Williams, the Texas Tech transfer, has been a revelation, providing the Wolfpack with a versatile scoring punch that Seton Hall simply doesn't have an answer for on the wing. Pair him with the steady hand of Trey Holloman running the point, and you have an NC State backcourt that is playing fast, efficient, and turnover-free basketball. Seton Hall, meanwhile, is living dangerously. Their offense ranks outside the top 300 in effective field goal percentage, and they are relying heavily on Tajuan Simpkins to bail them out of stagnant possessions. While Shaheen Holloway's teams are known for their next man-up toughness, they simply don't have the firepower to trade baskets with this Wolfpack squad. NC State handled a common opponent, VCU, with relative ease in regulation, while the Pirates needed extra time to survive the same test. The Pirates' inability to score inside means they'll be chucking jumpers against an athletic Wolfpack defense, a recipe for long rebounds and transition dunks for NC State. Expect the Wolfpack to push the pace, tire out the Pirates in the Maui humidity, and stretch this lead out in the second half. As our first pick for this matchup, NC State to cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. This is a 9:30 a.m. local tip-off in Hawaii. Historically, these morning Maui games are where shooting percentages go to die. Players are throwing off their body clocks, the gym is humid, and legs are heavy. While NC State loves to run, Seton Hall is the ultimate mud wrestler. Coach Holloway knows his only path to victory is to drag this game into the 60s. The Pirates will muddy the waters, foul to stop transition, and use the full shot clock on offense to shorten the game. Seton Hall has yet to allow a team to hit 80 points this season, and their defensive metrics are still top 80 nationally. Even if NC State gets their points, it's hard to see Seton Hall contributing enough to push this total. The Pirates put up just 68 points against New Haven and 60 against Vanderbilt recently. If NC State hits 75, Seton Hall is likely stuck in the high 50s or low 60s. We're banking on a sluggish start from the shooters and a physical, choppy second half that keeps the scoreboard manageable. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Kansas versus Notre Dame. Look, I know Kansas fans are sweating a bit. A 3-2 start isn't what you expect from a Bill Self squad, especially coming off that tough 78-66 loss to Duke in the Champions Classic last week. But this is exactly the kind of buy low spot where the Jayhawks thrive. We're talking about a team anchored by the veteran savvy of Hunter Dickinson, who is still a walking double-double machine averaging 17.6 points and 10 boards, and the defensive pest prowess of Dajuan Harris Jr. The narrative here is Notre Dame is 4-1. They're hot, but look who they've played. Beating Bellarmine is nice, but it doesn't prepare you for the physicality of Kansas. Marcus Burton has been electric for the Irish, putting up over 21 points a game, but he's about to run into the Harris gauntlet. The X factor today is the health of Kansas's prized freshman Darren Peterson. Even with him listed as questionable with that hamstring tweak, the Jayhawks have the depth with transfers A.J. Storr and Zeke Mayo to overpower Notre Dame's guards. The Irish are 1-0 ATS as underdogs this year, but the Jayhawks are desperate to make a statement before the bracket gets tougher. The neutral court in Vegas usually favors the team with the most discipline, and despite the early bumps, that's still Kansas. We're banking on the Jayhawks' size inside and their motivation to erase the Duke loss to control this game late. As our first pick for this matchup, the Kansas Jayhawks to cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. This is a 12:30 p.m. local tip in a massive cavernous arena, the MGM Grand Garden. Historically, shooting backgrounds in these early season tournaments, especially in pro arenas, wreak havoc on perimeter shooting. Depth perception is tricky and legs are heavy from travel. Kansas is averaging 77 points, but their defensive metrics are still elite. They're holding teams to under 70 points when they're locked in. On the other side, Notre Dame relies heavily on Burton to create offense. If Kansas traps him or forces the ball out of his hands, the Irish secondary scoring, guys like Braden Shrewsbury or Kevin G, will have to beat Kansas one-on-one, which is a tall order. Kansas has seen games trend under this season, averaging a combined 141 points in their matchups. And Notre Dame's half-court offense can bog down against superior length. We expect a physical, grinded-out first half as teams adjust to the Vegas rims. Expect Bill Self to slow the tempo if they get a lead, relying on Dickinson in the post rather than a track meet. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. St. John's versus Iowa State. Look, everyone is talking about the star power Rick Pitino brought to Queens this offseason, and rightfully so. When you add a bucket getter like Ian Jackson from UNC and a healthy Bryce Hopkins from Providence to a lineup that already has Zuby Eggio for cleaning the glass, you have a roster that looks like an all-star team on paper. But here is the problem. All-star teams take time to gel, and we saw the cracks in that armor when Alabama hung 103 points on them at Madison Square Garden earlier this month. They have the firepower, but their defensive rotations are still a step slow. On the other side, you have Iowa State. This isn't a team of mercenaries trying to learn each other's names. This is a unit with serious continuity. Tamin Lipsey is back running the show for his senior year, and he is the ultimate stabilizer. But the real difference maker this season has been the junior leap of Milan Momcilovic. He has transformed from a spot-up shooter into a legitimate three-level scorer, and that offensive versatility is exactly what the Cyclones were missing in past years. When you're betting early season tournaments in neutral venues like Vegas, you trust cohesion over chaos. St. John's is going to make highlight plays, but Iowa State is going to get the stops. Otzelberger's no-middle defense is designed to frustrate teams that rely on isolation scoring, which is exactly what this new-look St. John's team defaults to when the pressure ramps up. The Cyclones are shooting over 50% from the field through their first 4 games, and they have the discipline to handle the chaotic press Pitino will throw at them. We are fading the hype and backing the system that is already fully installed. As our first pick for this matchup, the Iowa State Cyclones to cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. If you are still thinking of Iowa State as that rock fight, first to 60 wins team from 3 years ago, you are living in the past. This 2025 version of the Cyclones is efficient, and they are putting up 85+ points a game so far this season. They have added offensive punch with transfers like Dominic Nelson and the passing brilliance of Joshua Jefferson, which keeps the ball moving and leads to wide open looks. Then you look at St. John's. Rick Pitino has made it clear he wants to run, he wants to press, force turnovers, and get into transition immediately. The Red Storm are averaging insane possession numbers, and their games are turning into track meets. Just look at that 103-96 scoreline against Bama. They have elite athletes like Dylan Mitchell flying up and down the court, and they are more than happy to trade baskets. We have a total sitting in the low 100s and 60s, which sounds high for a Big 12 defense, but the environment in Vegas is perfect for scoring. The floor is fast, the lights are bright, and you have two teams that are clicking offensively for very different reasons. St. John's because of raw talent, and Iowa State because of efficient execution. I expect St. John's to push the tempo to uncomfortable levels, and for once, Iowa State has the horses to run right alongside them without sacrificing their efficiency. We are looking at a game that climbs into the 80s for both squads. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed, subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.